Forest Park. The game will air on Fox at 8 p.m. It's 91 degrees at 2 o'clock. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our sports-loving ladies, Lauren Brooks and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Hey, show me what you got, pretty lady.
A new open will be coming, I'm sure, very soon because, of course, it's two sports-loving ladies and Tom McManus and, of course, RJ Saunders as well. Tom, in case people missed the show on Friday, you joined us for a couple segments, and certainly we made the big announcement that you are our newest co-host.
How about it?
Welcome.
Great to be here, man. I don't like this headset already. I'm about to rip it into a million pieces. It's okay. It's
You
good
had
to be
one
here.
job this weekend, Tommy.
I know. My ADD kicked in, man. I forgot. I walked like literally 2 minutes away. I'm like, darn, I forgot a headset.
I almost texted you yesterday, like, did you get a headset? And I was like, but I don't want to be that person. Someone called me the mom voice of the show over the weekend. And so that's been in my head all weekend long. I'm like, I'm not even a mom. Like, I love moms. I'm not a mom.
Gosh.
So I was like, I don't want to be that person and be like, did you get your headset?
Yeah. What makes it worse is a listener from Jaguars today sent me like what you guys have, and it's somewhere in my house. I gotta find it.
That's
but I
so
have
sweet.
them. I definitely have them.
You'll
That's
get some on the plane ride to Vegas. They'll give you some free ones.
Just snag them from there. Yeah, that'll work.
I mean,
why not?
Whatever it takes, right? That's very nice, though, of a listener to do that for you. All right, let's talk
It was great.
some Jaguars offense. So Liam Cohen, as we know, the new head coach, and he will be the play caller. We know definitively who is calling the plays in 2025, which is great news. And he's got a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence that certainly, I used the word polarizing recently, Tom. I don't know if polarizing is the exact right word, but certainly this fan base can be divided when it comes to Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback. Yeah. There are people that believe he still can be a top 5, top 10 quarterback, and then there are people that think he is a trash quarterback and he'll never be successful in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's in-betweens.
And then there's certainly people, I think, I'll call them the rational ones, that understand Trevor has strengths and Trevor has weaknesses. Yep. So as we look at the question of how does Liam Cohen mold the offense to fit Trevor Lawrence's strengths, I feel like let's start there. What would y'all say are Trevor Lawrence's strengths? Besides, obviously, having a big arm.
Yeah, I think the deep ball is what most people would link right away to his strengths. So if you can build off that, and I think there's ways to do that without making that your whole personality and your whole scheme. And a lot of that is the RPO play action. Play action sets up so many other things. And if I was reading a stat of that end of 2022, beginning of 2023, when it comes to that play action or RPO rate, that the Jags had like the 8th highest within that time frame, and that's when Trevor was at his best. And that's just because when you were able to do that, number one, he's also really good when it's quick. You don't want him to have to think too much. You don't want him to have to read too much. And so I think that getting the ball out quick, maybe getting him under center a little bit more will help. But I do think knowing that you can stretch the field and get him some options downfield, but getting the ball out as quick as possible, I think is what has benefited Trevor the most.
Yeah, I'll tell you, first of all, people that say that he's no good are wrong. They're flat out wrong because he's got plenty of talent. It's been inconsistent. It's just been inconsistent, and that's what they got to hone in. They got to hone in when, look, he'll make that dynamic throw, and then he'll miss like just a routine throw. And you're like, how are you missing that throw? He's wide open. You're open. You're fine. And for whatever reason, you can't put it on him. So he's just got to be more consistent with his play. I think he throws in between the numbers very well. And that's his dig throws, and dig for people that don't know out there, you fake like you're doing a post deep, and then you just square it off. It's like 15, 18 yards, typically open on a play-action pass because the backers jump up, and it's hard to cover one-on-one, and he zips it in there like just as good as anybody else. Outside the numbers, sometimes it gets a little wonky. He'll throw a good pass, then he'll throw like a simple out pattern on the inside, and you just can't do that, right? Because that can obviously be knocked down, be picked off, or picked six. So I think what Liam Cohen's task is go back to 2022 in Doug's first year. What'd they do? Got the ball out quick, like you said. First read throws. They used a lot of motion and a lot of rub routes to get crossing routes to get those guys open. And remember, they had a strong running game in 2022. Yep. They haven't had one since then. So hopefully they can get that going, and that'll jumpstart his career a little bit.
And we know, based off of watching the Buccaneers offense last season, Liam Cohen, his offense is designed to have a lot more of that pre-snap motion. Yeah. And that, for people who don't understand, that gives the quarterback an idea of what the defense is going to do. And I do think that part of Trevor's game has to improve is the reading coverages and certainly then communicating to his other offensive players.
Yeah, he's also got to take what's given. Right? There's too many times. That's not all the time, people, no, sometimes, though, like he'll go for that deep throw when it's third down and the guy's wide open underneath it, like right at the first down mark. He's got to, look, how did Tom Brady make a living? Pre-snap.
Yeah.
Right? And then he dinked and dunked, and then boom, hit you over the top, over the head when you weren't ready for it. So
I love that you mentioned Tom Brady in a conversation about Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Well, listen. After 2022, I thought he was on a Josh Allen trajectory.
I think a lot of people did.
He had a little bit of that game in him, and it didn't go as well, but for different reasons. But no, listen, you can win with Trevor. You can absolutely win with Trevor. And I don't care what they called him out of college, Jenner. He didn't call himself that. That was everybody else. But he does have to get better. And to me, when you're consistent, that means you're ultra prepared, you're ultra ready, and you're ultra confident. So hopefully they can get it all together.
And Taylor, a big part of this too in Liam Cohen's offense with Trevor is going to be that footwork and the timing. That's what they've worked on a lot this offseason. And we've already seen improvements, and certainly Liam Cohen talked about that. But that let's call it a 7-step drop. Every single time he moves his feet, Trevor, that's going to be timed perfectly with what's happening as far as the receivers, the tight ends, the running backs. Like that is how Liam Cohen's offense works perfectly.
Yeah, and that's what we've heard a lot of these young coordinators, their emphasis on all the small, tiny things. This goes to Sean McVay right now, Ben Johnson, this was a big thing, and Liam Cohen. They were all very articulate of every single step when it comes to both Trevor Lawrence, but the wide receivers too. When it comes to that route running, your feet need to be exactly in this place and this part of the route, and that is how everything kind of syncs up. And Liam Cohen is that perfectionist in that side, so you are going to see him really hone in on like some of those intricate things that maybe you hadn't really thought about. Honestly, maybe Trevor hadn't really thought about a ton, because I do think that last year and the year before, the timing was an issue with a lot of him and the wide receivers. We went back and we blamed a lot on Calvin Ridley about being in the wrong places, but then Calvin spoke that it was maybe between the two of them not being kind of on the same page. And so you saw that with Calvin Ridley the year before, and then last year you saw that early in the season with multiple receivers, and he had that comfortability with Christian Kirk, so I don't think you worried about it as much. Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram aren't here anymore, so that timing is going to be very important.
Yeah, I mean, look, most passing offenses are predicated on time, right? You have a 3-step drop, on that third step, the ball is out, you're going wide, that receiver's already broken, and he's expecting that ball to be where it has to be. And keep in mind, every route, there's a spot that ball's got to be to give your receiver the best chance, not only to catch it, but to make a play. Like even on a 10-yard out, you got to put it high and outside, just so your guy can catch it, nobody else. On the post pattern, he throws it great when he throws it on time.
Yeah.
Right before he got hurt in Houston, he threw a pick deep. He just threw it late. Brian Thomas was open, and he can get the ball there.
Brian Thomas is always open.
Brian Thomas is always, that should be a T-shirt. Brian Thomas is always open. But yeah, so he's just got to look, a little anticipation. Footwork is key, and also just trusting that your receivers are going to be there. That anticipation and throwing it before they break and all that kind of stuff. He did some of that during camp, by the way. He got a little bit better at it. I thought he had a pretty good offseason overall. The ball didn't hit the ground a lot.
Yeah. No, but it hit the defense's hands.
He threw a couple picks here and there. There's no doubt about that, but he also made some good plays too. So, but at the end of the day, guys, it's the quarterback that stirs the pot.
Yeah.
He's got to be better than average.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, Trevor's been average when you put it all into the pot and stir it up and say what he's done in 4 years. It's been about average.
Another staple of Liam Cohen's offense that we saw him use with Baker Mayfield last year. Baker, his season high of career rushing at that point in time was 165 yards early in his career. Last year with the Bucs, Baker Mayfield rushed the ball for 378 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. So as much as my heart can't take when Trevor runs because I get so nervous about him getting hurt. At the same time, sometimes that's the best possible thing. We saw it at Clemson. Trevor almost, his game went up a level when he was hit, when he took off running with the football.
Yeah, and I think it's scary at sometimes to watch, but I've been saying that for a while. I was getting frustrated at times last year because I do think that early on there were moments where Trevor could have used his legs, and whether that's designed or undesigned, I think there's benefits of both sides of that. And there were moments where it felt like Trevor was scared, and maybe that is because there were so many injuries the year before at the end that kind of stacked up. But you do have to make that a part of yourself if you're able to do it. Like, you're a big guy. You can run over some people. That's one thing that Baker can do. We've seen Baker stiff arm people in the face and get an extra 5-6 yards out of it. And I do think that that's something you could benefit from Trevor Lawrence. When you talk about a Josh Allen, that's what he's really good at. He's good at knowing when the smart time to run is and when the smart time maybe to just get the ball away. And Trevor does have to get better at that decision making, but you also have to take off when you can.
Nothing worse as a defender when you got everyone covered down and then the quarterback takes off and you're like, what? You're like 20 yards away trying to catch up to it. He's running all over the place. Look, no more sliding. No more dive. Get out of the way. They might hit you a little bit, but don't. And look, that was a dirty hit, but he's got to get down. He's really got to protect. That's a big target.
Yeah.
I mean, his upper torso's long, and you know what I mean? And when you slide like a baseball player and you're up a little bit, you are a target. You got to get down. But I'm saying, look, forget all that. Go forward. When you got to take off and run, do it. Be smart about it. You don't have to take that extra hit. But, hey, man, if there's a defender coming up, maybe try to dive out of the way and only get hit in maybe a hip or a rib.
Yeah, not your head.
Stomach blow. I don't know. Something like that.
Although you hurt your hip earlier today squatting.
I did.
Hopefully Trevor doesn't do that. Another thing, Liam Cohen's offense that we saw with the Bucs, more variety in the run game. You mentioned the run game. Certainly that was a huge part of when Trevor Lawrence was playing at his best. So what does that look like as far as what Liam Cohen wants to do, especially with the 4 different running backs that they have?
Well, it's a different line blocking scheme for the most part, right? Doug was always predicated on timing. Some people would call it finesse. Zone blocking, I mean, look, it's literally 5 guys moving at the same time and that back having one cut and going. So if there's timing issues, it's going to look like they're not doing their job, but it's not working. It's not figuring out. What concerns me about Doug, that first year was really good, but then second year was good for a little bit, then it went down. Running game included. Did the league figure us out, in that kind of way? So it's going to be a different way of blocking, the more man on man, more hat on hat. Look, they brought in speed. They want speed on this offense. They want that Tootin kid to be the guy eventually. I don't think he starts out that way, but I think eventually he's got a shot to get there as long as he doesn't put the ball on the ground. Liam's known for running the football. What he did with Bucky Irving, who was, a 4th-round pick last year. I mean, look, part of that's the O-line. I mean, Wirfs is really good.
Yeah.
Graham Barton's really good. They got a good offensive line. I mean, they're going to be committed to that run game. And we know when you have a run game, you give your quarterback that much better of a chance to stay protected and be able to deliver that ball on time.
Yeah, I think that when a lot of the terminology I've seen is the wide zone run scheme, which I think he could benefit off of, because that you're stretching the field when that happens, but you're seeing a lot of teams have to stack the box. And the moment you stack the box against Trevor because of his arm that open, and now you have guys like Brian Thomas Jr. and a Travis Hunter when he's out there and Brown. And so I do think that there's so many benefits out of that. And then from that, you use RPO and play action. You get Trevor in shotgun, and then that the time to throw for him, the less it is, the better that Trevor is.
Yeah, I had the same thing you had as far as the go quickly, get that ball out quickly. Don't make him go through 3 to 5 progressions. That's just not where he is yet. Maybe eventually he'll be there, and maybe in this offense, especially like you mentioned with the weapons, he can get there. But I just don't think that's where he is right now. So the faster he gets the ball out, and certainly the faster he gets it out, that means the offensive line doesn't have to protect for as long.
I was going to say, in his defense, he goes, number 1, number 2, bang, hit in the face. I can't see number 2, so
that's
that happened too many times.
I shared this stat with y'all over the weekend. Daniel Griffiths always tweets out great stats. This one's from Fantasy Points Data. Last season, the Jaguars were 31st in throwing crossers, slants, and digs. So they virtually did not throw those types of routes. And then Trevor...
36th.
31st.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was like,
31st in the league.
the negative teams.
And then, that would be interesting. And then Trevor led the NFL in completion percentage when targeting those routes. 80.3% completion percentage when targeting crossers, slants, and digs, but they didn't run that. And so certainly Liam Cohen is well aware, I think, of what Trevor's strengths and weaknesses are, and he'll design the offense around that.
I will say some of that, too, when you're doing it way less. If you're only doing it 5 times and you do it 3 of 5, your percentage is going to be higher. So the more you do those, the better idea you have of how good Trevor is of those things. But obviously, let's test some things out and not keep forcing him into situations that we have the last couple years. Yeah,
he's good down the seam, too, number 2 or the tight end. And I know it's, play action. You bite on that run fake because you want to move forward. All it takes is one step forward, and they're behind you. And he's good at that down the middle as well. So, look, I think they could clean it all up. You heard Trevor talk about his footwork early on. I like the fact that the coach is like, hey, man, we got to fix your footwork. Yeah. Like, that's obviously was stated to him, and they're working on it. So I think we'll see a better Trevor Lawrence, but you also got to see it to believe it. You know what I mean?
Well, at least training camp begins next week, so we
That's
will
right.
certainly start seeing
can't wait.
the next phase of the offseason. Oh, now, really, the season. Next phase of the season.
Yeah.
All right, we've got more to do on the other side. Going to talk some more Jaguars and the offensive line. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
1. Frangie and Hicken on Mondays. 2. Denny Thompson and Hacker on Wednesdays.
Who's counting?
1010XL now has 2 original Gator podcasts each week.
One for you, and one for me.
Search 1010XL Florida Gators wherever you find podcasts or visit 1010XL.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When cockroaches move into your home or business, you want them out fast. At Terminix, they don't just get rid of cockroaches, they evict them and work to prevent them from coming back. Because no one likes an uninvited pest. When cockroaches show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a roach problem. I certainly don't. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Firehouse Subs has fries. Your hometown hero since '94 just cranked up the heat. Hot subs, crispy fries, golden, pillowy on the inside, and perfectly seasoned. Over 30 Jacksonville locations. Firehouse Subs, homegrown and now with fries.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Helmets and Heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday, the local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
You wouldn't drive your car 50,000 miles without an oil change. So why are you ignoring your septic tank? That thing's working around the clock, taking every flush, shower, and mystery casserole down the line. Eventually, it fills up. And when it does, you do not want to find out the hard way. Don't wait for the stink. Septic tanks need to be pumped every 3 to 5 years. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule your septic pump out with the pros at Duck Duck Rooter. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Hey, Jacksonville, need a fence and ready to save? At Superior Fence and Rail, you'll lock in 5% off your fence project when you sign by the end of July. A limited time offer for savings and peace of mind this summer. Now accepting appointments for a free estimate. So act fast and get 5% off your entire fence project when you finalize by July 31st. Cannot be combined with other offers. New contracts only.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Walls. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
It's hurricane season. Protect your home with 904 Gutters with a Z. That's right. Z as in zone defense for your home. Water damage hits hard. 904 Gutters with a Z hits back harder. Search 904 Gutters with a Z and make the right call.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about HardballCreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barber here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barrier Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BarrierOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barrier Orthopedics.
I'm
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has been a legend on-road. They've branched out to their off-road division as well. Give us the latest on what you can find on the asphalt.
They've got some great new products. They've got the Scrambler 400s you can get into for a little less than you might think. It's a great price point bike, but still a Triumph.
So affordability is also part of the equation.
It is, and it looks good, and it rides good.
CyclesofJacksonville.com, or check them out on their Facebook page. The showroom ready and waiting for you on Atlantic near Regency at Cycles of Jacksonville.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. Always a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online at WeKeepJacksRollin.com. They are the best in the business. If you have any sort of automotive needs, I take my vehicle there. You can as well. Again, WeKeepJacksRollin.com. They now have 6 locations around town as we jam out to little Michael Jackson on this Monday. I wanted to read a sentence from Jimmy Smith. John Shipley had an exclusive interview with him on Sports Illustrated, since we're talking Jaguars offense, and then I want to talk about the offensive line as well. But here's Jimmy Smith on Brian Thomas Jr. The ability to come off the ball and get downfield and put pressure on the secondary is one of his greatest attributes, and we also call it taking the top off the defense. If he can put pressure on the safeties in that defense, then it opens up a lot of things underneath. Jimmy, of course, is kind of comparing what the weapons now here can be similar to back when Jimmy Smith was playing with a Keenan McCardle with a Fred Taylor. I'm not sure that the Jaguars have anything close to a Fred Taylor on this roster necessarily, but I certainly understand his point, and that is you can't stack the box because you've got those 2 explosive, and really 3, I think, explosive receivers. And so that is going to be good news. Whether it's Brian Thomas Jr., whether it's Travis Hunter, whether it's De'Ami Brown, any of the 3 of those guys can really force that cover to the 2 high safeties.
Yeah, I think, look, what made Jimmy special is he made that DB feel like he's going deep every time, and they were crapping in their pants because they're like, he's going to blow right by me. And then he would have no wasted movement when he'd make his cuts. You know, it could be full speed and 4 steps, and then bam, that outside foot, and he's slanting across, and that DB don't know what, once those hips move, he's he's making that cut. Jimmy was notorious at that. I don't know if we have a Keenan yet. Keenan made a lot of tough catches over the middle. He took a lot of big shots over the middle. Now, you don't have to take as many in today's game just because they protect players, and they should to a certain degree, I guess.
Coming from the former defensive player, of course, the former Jaguars linebacker.
But like I said on Friday, man, that speed is going to be really tough to defend with De'Ami Brown and Travis and Brian Thomas, man. That's going to be really, really challenging to defend.
Yeah, and we've heard from Travis Kelce and other people already of their plan against Travis Hunter, but you haven't really, you're like, by the way, you have Brian Thomas Jr., though, to have to try and figure out, too, when you're talking about this offense. And they know, I think teams around the league know that where Trevor's most comfortable is getting the ball downfield. And so I do think that, but he's been able to do it. If he can get those shots and he's accurate, then he's one of the more dangerous guys when it comes to getting those deep shots. And so I could see teams maybe forcing that a little bit just because, like Travis Kelce said, they want to get Travis Hunter tired, make him run as much as possible and wear him out by the end of the game. But at the same time, you have other weapons that can do that now. So I'm not sure if any opposing team's going to be able to just kind of force that. And especially if you get the run game going, then it's over.
And I do feel like I've listened to Deion Sanders talk about Travis Hunter in college, and he was asked the last few months, basically since the draft, like, do you really think he's going to be able to play offense and defense in the NFL? And Deion's like, well, yeah. not only did he have fewer time in between the snaps in college, so he's going to have the longer play clock in the NFL, but also because of those rules changes, safety can't take him out across the middle of the field. Like, they can't take him out of the play. And because the rules have changed, that's going to help him, I think, too.
Yeah, well, and again, he's got on defense, so he's got to tackle, like, against the run. So that I just want to see him do it more. He can run for days. I mean, you saw him out there. He's not even running. He's floating on air. It's pretty cool how he even moves around. But, look, we don't know two things. We don't know how he's going to fare, and the defenders don't know how they're going to fare. You know, like, think of two different situations. He goes over the middle and he does take a big hit. Does he go over the middle again, knowing he's going to take a big hit? We're going to find out. You know, hopefully he does. And the other side of that, what if he, bounces right off that hit and goes for 80? You know what I mean? We're going to find out. Look, college is great, and there's a lot of value, a lot of meaning to it, but it's, as we all know, it's way different in the NFL. You're not 95% of that talent that he played against in college is not in the NFL. They're not even on a team. So can he do it? Yeah, you'd like to think that. The Jags are smart enough. All the teams, and they all wanted him if they could get him. He's the best player in the draft. Now, does his game translate to the NFL? You know, we like to think it will.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of conversations about that. We won't know until the season starts. That's the one thing with Travis Hunter, what each side looks like, how much he's on defense, how much he's on offense, how much they trust him to do those certain things. If he does take a big hit, do they kind of take the foot off the gas a little bit? You would hope not, because then teams are going to say, oh, okay, well, you hit him one good time and they're not going to use him for the rest of the game. You don't ever want to get to the point where it's predictable of when Travis Hunter is going to be on the field.
Would you bubble wrap him in the preseason, Travis Hunter?
No.
Would you play him both ways?
I play him and then get him out. And I'm a big believer in that. Look, we're all creatures of habit. I think every game you should go into, your starters, your backups, every game you should go into like, okay, I'm going to play today, and then they're going to yank me at some point. Because it's, I don't know. I always think you should play. It's funny. Like at the end of the year, I'd rather play in the wild card. Mm-hmm. I'd rather keep playing.
Yeah.
I don't want 2 weeks to mess up my mojo or my rhythm. What I mean? Like I'd rather keep playing. So for me, I want to see him, but I'm not going to keep him out there, for too long. But I'm going to see what he can do, see what he, how he fares, and play it like that, and then make sure they. He's productive. It's like with the offense. How long are you going to play the offense? Well, if they go down and score a touchdown in the first preseason game, I'm good.
Yeah.
You're good. Go sit down. Right?
Yeah.
Number 2 is let's go. Let's see what you got. So I think it all depends how it goes down.
I'm a nervous Nelly, Taylor. I'm always like, if
Lauren would have no
preseason
preseason games if it was her option.
That is correct. I would prefer 0 preseason games.
Yeah. I think they need it. I don't know if they need 4 like they had before, but I think another fascinating storyline, and we're going to continue to talk about the offensive line as camp starts and things go on, because it's going to be obviously a hot topic of how much this offensive line's improved. But when it comes to Liam Cohen's offense and what worked down in Tampa when it came to those offensive linemen, one thing that I want to see, because he had some big offensive linemen, obviously, when you're talking about a Tristan Wirfs, but he had guys that can move a lot. They did a lot of lateral stuff, a lot of pre-motion stuff, a lot of pre-snap stuff. Do you have the even manpower here to be able to do that? And that's one of the things that I want to see, because if not, then he is going to have to adjust things a little bit to what he's doing offensively.
All right, so let's get to the offensive line on the other side. I think certainly a position group that if you were to poll Jaguars fans, they would say that's the one they're probably most concerned about outside of the quarterback. But that part we already discussed. All right, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
There's more than one way to live forever. Gents, I give you the fountain of youth.
1010XL.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Football Football season is almost here, so before it arrives, I'm going to get our home organized. Lauren Brooks here. I'm so excited to meet with the team at Closets by Design next week and discuss the improvements that they can make for our home. And yes, you can do the same. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off with free installation. Yes, that's 40% off plus an additional 15% off during the month of July. Call 904-878-9393 or visit them online, closetsbydesign.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Hey, Hickett here. Think you got the ugliest garage floor on the First Coast? Your garage a crack-stained, hot mess? Hold on to your squeegee. Checkmate Coatings is hunting for the worst garage floor out there. And the winner gets a free garage coating makeover. Whoa! Take 10 seconds. Snap a pic of that garage eyesore. Register at checkmatecoatings.com/contests for a chance to win a free floor coating. It's easy. Just snap a quick pic and enter for a chance to win at checkmatecoatings.com/contest. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Your doctor says your testosterone is normal. Normal for who? Beta males? That's where those lab ranges come from. Male Excel uses optimal levels, where you were at 25, not where outdated mainstream medicine thinks you should be. Our protocol is different. Daily dosing, multiple hormones, personalized to your body, not some insurance company's spreadsheet. This is precision medicine, not sick care. Try MaleExcel.com, free test. Stop being normal. Start being optimal.
Josie for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor, lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjax.com.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 14th, 1970, Pete Rose bowled over Ray Fosse at home plate to win the All-Star Game, a play that remains one of the most memorable in All-Star history.
It's Christmas in July at Beard's Diamonds with as much as 40% off everything in the store. Maybe it's time to treat yourself to a fabulous fashion ring, necklace, or bracelet. You can do it now and save as much as 40% off Beard's already unbeatable prices. And don't forget, Beard's is the town center's locally owned diamond superstore. Don't settle for the corporate chain store experience when you can get the value, service, and attention you deserve. Don't miss Christmas in July. Save up to 40% exclusively at Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Are you living with diabetic neuropathy? That pain and numbness in your hands or feet? What about chronic knee or shoulder pain? Maybe you've tried various treatments, but they've been ineffective. Now there's a solution. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso specializes in advanced pain management and offers breakthrough neuromodulation treatments for those conditions. His innovative treatments target the source of your pain, offering relief where medications may fall short. All procedures are performed outpatient with no hospitalization required. Just a chance for you to feel and live better. If you want to learn more, Dr. Formoso is hosting free informational classes where he'll explain the benefits of neuromodulation therapies and how they can help eliminate your pain. Spaces are limited, so call to reserve your spot now with offices on the South Side, West Side, and Jacksonville Beach. Relief is possible with Formoso Spine and Joint Pain Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Tom McManus, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday. Before we get to the Jaguars offensive line, I saw this on Instagram over the weekend and it bothered me. De'Ami Brown, the Jaguars receiver, was catching passes from Sam Howell. That part's fine. Sam Howell used to be the quarterback in Washington.
Yeah.
But they were doing this in Nashville, Tennessee at Nissan Stadium. So clearly you can see the Titans logo right smack in the middle of it. Does that bother anybody else? Like, you can't go just play catch at the Titans field?
I don't think De'Ami knows the history.
I think
he might want to ask somebody about it.
I think we might need to give him a little lesson on Jaguars history is right. Like, you
nothing Tennessee, De'Ami, nothing.
And Sam Howell is now the backup for the Vikings.
Yeah, that's what
so
he's not. He's in Minnesota.
Right, he doesn't play for the Titans. Now, he was born, Sam Howell was born in Waynesville, North Carolina, so I guess that's a little close to Nashville, but either way, I'm just going to tell De'Ami.
De'Ami is
Charlotte. Yeah, any other facility is perfectly fine.
That's right.
Outside of the Jags division, not the Texans, not the Colts, not the Titans.
You got Vandy in Nashville. Go to Vandy.
Exactly. Thank you.
Go work out at Vandy.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who bothered. All right, let's get it to the Jaguars offensive line. ESPN has been doing rankings, top 10 players with honorable mention of different position groups. And the offensive line for the Jaguars is not going to be in the ESPN top 10. Really, a lot of Jaguars players aren't in the top 10 across the position groups. But let's talk more about this line. Tom, do you think that James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, the triumvirate here, do you think that they did enough with the offensive line in the offseason?
No, I don't. But if we can just expand, there's no Jags honorable mention. There's no Jags lineman receiving votes either.
No.
And that's about, 20 deep. So that, that's a little concern. I mean, obviously the lists don't mean that much. And in their defense, you can't fix everything in 1 year, right? And I know, look, the old regime had Walker under contract, so that was easy to keep him. Anton being a first-round pick only 2-3 years ago, easy to keep him. He's still on his rookie deal. They brought in competition. I think Udoga, he's got a chance because they were swapping him in and out that first line. Look, and here's the thing. I think those guys, look, Anton didn't have a great year last year. He had a really good rookie year. I think Walker's okay. I think he's okay. And here's the problem with just okay. When you're just okay, you have to leave somebody in either a tight end or a back to help you block that guy, which takes them out of the route.
Right.
Every offensive coordinator and head coach wants what? My 5 linemen blocking and the rest going out for passes. So I have 5 different targets that my quarterback can throw to. And when I have to worry about my tackles not being able to take the guy one-on-one for the whole game without my quarterback getting killed, I've got to now take 1 or 2 guys out of the route system, and that does hinder what my offensive that call for that play will be able to do.
So, okay. He says Walker Little's okay, Taylor.
Yeah. No surprise hearing from me that, no, they did not do enough. I've been, and I don't know, I agree with Tommy in the fact that you obviously saw the turnover and how much James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, and company all dislike this roster because there was a lot of movement, a lot of change. So they came into this saying there's a lot of things that need to be fixed or improved on this roster, and you can't do that in one offseason. It's impossible. But I do think that offensive line to me was probably way more important than they made it feel like. And this is my world. Maybe what they did ends up working. I just feel like there were too many good offensive linemen, even in free agency this last year. When you go through and you look at the teams that did improve, I was seeing a list earlier of like the 5 teams that improved the most, and it was like Raiders, Jets, Bears, Chargers, and they all went out and made at least one splash, paid a high paid offensive linemen, which that's fine. Give the guy some money if he's protecting your quarterback. And then they also made several moves outside of that. And yes, the Jags did it, but they kind of got the other guys. They didn't get any of the guys that everyone was like, okay, these are the top 10 offensive tackles and here's the top 10 guards. They went the other route and still paid them actually kind of decent money for some of these guys. I just think that it's too important. It's too important. And we've seen the last couple years when it comes to protecting Trevor, when it comes to not being able to run the ball, when it comes to everything you can do functionally as an offense, it starts in the trenches, and we've said that so much. And honestly, the two things they worked on the least were the trenches, and I feel like to me that was always the most needed, and I still feel like they're both okay.
Yeah, I think they're both okay, and that's the problem. Like, could be potential problem. Now, you get the ball out quick, and they don't have to block very long. Maybe you got a chance. You know what I mean? Maybe that chip does help. You know, you just a little knock in the ribs to not let that guy get any more forward motion. I see these lists, which bothers me, is I see two guys from the same team on the list. Detroit, the Chargers, Tampa Bay even. I'm like, and wouldn't you love to have bookend tech of Philadelphia? You know, they're all on the list, and you're like, yeah, those guys are really good, right? You know who they are, and they're really good, and I wish we had that. And now, again, you can't fix it all in 1 year, so I understand why maybe they didn't, but at the end of the day, you got to protect Trev. Like,
you just paid him a lot of money. That's my thing. Your quarterback, you just paid a lot of money to, and you're waiting. You keep every year now, 4 years in a row, we've said, okay, well, once he has an offensive line, though, we'll be able to see Trevor Lawrence really stand out and really shine, and he could be a top 5 quarterback, and then you don't fix it yet again.
They did pay Patrick McCarry from the Ravens. He'll be the right guard. 3 years, $37 million is a lot to pour into that position. Robert Hainsey, I think the conversation is clearly the fact that he was benched by Liam Cohen, his new head coach now, who was the offensive coordinator for the Bucs, for Graham Barton. And so did they get someone that is going to elevate this run game, certainly, with him playing center? Left guard, there's a battle there, so that part's exciting. But I think that, to your point, Tom, the bigger thing is you have Walker Little, who's never been able to beat anyone out to win that left tackle job outright in training camp. And you have Anton Harrison, who played great as a rookie, despite the fact that he had the shoulder injury. And then last year was not injured and yet took a step back. And clearly Liam Cohen sent him a message this offseason by saying after OTAs in the mandatory minicamp that, when he wants to go, he can go. That's to me something where
it's alarming.
It's very concerning. And they know that Anton has work to do, and they weren't afraid to tell that to the media to light a fire under him. But if you don't have those bookend tackles to protect your quarterback, like the best Jaguars football, we know they had a Hall of Fame left tackle and an all-pro right tackle.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to do that. And did they improve the tackle position by bringing in Fred Johnson and Chuma Adoga? That, of course, is then the question. Do those guys make Walker Little and Anton better, or do those guys win the starting job? And we're talking about, at that point, 5 brand new offensive linemen if Wyatt Milam beats out as recruitment for left guard.
Yeah, and look, that's concerning. But, offensive linemen can gel pretty quickly. They're just a bunch of big uglies. All they got to do is feed them and give them some beer and hang out a little bit. And as long as they work together, they can be fine. I mean, no disrespect to Fred or Chuma, but I don't. I mean, are they upgrades? I don't know. Maybe. Let's see them in pads. Maybe they are upgrades. Maybe they really will push them for that starting position. I don't know if I see that yet, but again, we haven't seen them in live action.
Yeah.
Look, if our old line is just okay, doesn't have to be top 10. I'd like it to be, but it doesn't have to be. But as long as it's top half, you can win with the top half, as long as everything else is working out, right?
Yeah, but it's so far from that. That's the problem.
We don't know where it's at. We don't know where it's at. We really don't know where it's at. Look, 22, they were pretty good. They were good.
Yeah.
And they just fell off at 23, and they fell off at 24. So.
And I've had that conversation a lot where, to me, the two pieces that were kind of keeping that together were Brandon Sheriff and Mitch Morse, because you had the veteran guys who felt like at least in that side of things kind of were the glue in what was making things function, and you lost both of those. And now with the newness, and when it comes to Fred Johnson, I've said this a few times, he allowed the 4th most sacks in the NFL last year, allowed 7 sacks. That's not a guy to me that I'm hoping wins a job, because if he's winning the job, in my opinion, then you don't really have a a lot of good options. But
was that in limited play?
Limited.
How many?
That's what I was
games?
trying to just actually look at.
Was
the
it more than
snap
it was like
count.
half the year? Like how many games did he really start
pass
back to
blocking
back?
grade, by the way, was 37.3, 128th out of 140 tackles last year, and then his run blocking was 103rd out of 140. There was a lot of issues. He had a lot of penalties. He had 5 penalties on the year. He allowed 8 sacks, which was 133rd out of 140 tackles, and he played 480 offensive snaps, which was 68th out of 140 tackles.
Yeah, so did they do enough? No. They have not done enough, but hopefully in their quarterback's sake, they've done that. Those guys, keep them somewhat clean.
Tommy, this was something that when you were on Jaguars Today last year and the conversation you guys were talking about Anton Harrison and kind of what was going on with Anton, because there was a little bit of regression, it felt like. And we've had these conversations now that if Anton is putting in full effort, then maybe Anton can be that true tackle in the NFL. And if he's not, maybe he's not there. But I asked you the question. I texted you separately because we talk about the film. If you have film on a quarterback, how much does that change the approach of the defense? Because we're always like, oh, well, now they have film on the guy and you can figure him out. Is it similar with offensive linemen? Can you have that where you watch film and you can you're then now realizing their weaknesses and playing off of that?
I mean, you can, yeah, absolutely. But that offensive lineman's got to work on his weaknesses in the offseason, right? And during the year, right? So I don't know if that was, it's funny, the whole if he wants to, right? That might have been a theme across the board. Yeah. Not for every single player, because I think
the head coach.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe it started with the head coach and trickled all the way through. It feels like that might have been more the theme than we all want to, accept. But look, you're going to game plan against the guy you're going against, especially those guys, the pass rushers against the tackles. But if he's working on his strength, his speed, his quickness, his hand placement, his technique, his conditioning, he should be getting better every single year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, just look, he's got the tools. Mm-hmm. Can he put it all together and consistently? That's another key word. Last year, they were so inconsistent across the board, everywhere, even in the secondary. They were out of coverage half the time.
I think they were actually very consistent in the
consistently
secondary.
bad.
Yeah. They were the worst passing defense in the entire NFL, and we saw them with their hands up a lot. The linebackers, too.
But now they're watching film, because that's what the video says. They're film junkies now, so there you go.
For sure. By the way,
nice hype video.
Yeah, I liked that, too. We're asking our kicker who the best film junkie is on the team.
He hangs out with Trevor. When do you go with Trev, Cam, and hang out and watch film together?
I hope Trevor.
For people who haven't seen it, the Jaguars posted a video earlier today where they're asking different players who the film junkie, the person, their teammate who watches the most film, and Cam Little, the kicker, said it's got to be QB1. It's Trevor. And then later, Brian Thomas Jr. is like, well, I'm
watching
there
a lot
too.
of film.
You know what
Cam did
Brian
go to the
Thomas
Bahamas.
said? He says here,
yes, right.
it's the QB, but overall, it's me.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So that was kind of interesting.
Which I understand why they post videos like that, because there are so many people that doubt if Trevor Lawrence is working hard, if Trevor Lawrence is watching films today, if Trevor Lawrence can diagnose defenses. Like, I understand they're trying to have his back and they're trying to have it in a fun way. But Cam Little, I saw him with the receivers down in the Bahamas and Brenton Strange and some of the other tight ends. So I do feel like Cam and Trevor probably get along pretty well. And they both love golf, although Trevor's not nearly as good at golf as Cam Little is.
I heard that score today. I think it was like he shot a 92 or something like that, but he was with Miles Teller. I was like, I love Miles Teller.
And I don't think anybody cares about his golf game.
No.
Hopefully he doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the key.
I know here last year, someone that cared a lot about golf was the head coach.
Yeah.
And that might be a slight issue.
Maybe where some of the problems
we've discovered them. Yeah, for sure.
That's right.
I mean, at some point in time, the culture here in Jacksonville has to turn from what I always say, same old Jags, to a culture like the Baltimore Ravens, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though they haven't had a quarterback, they're still above 500. Yeah. Like the Buffalo Bills since 2017. The Jaguars beat the Bills in 2017 in the playoffs, January 2018. And look at the trajectory that the two teams have gone on. I'm not even going to compare the Jaguars right now to the Eagles and the Chiefs, the two teams that were in the Super Bowl. But that culture,
far away.
It's too far. There was one day I thought about doing this exercise on the show, and then I decided it made me too depressed, so I didn't want to do it. How many Jaguars would start for the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that just won the Super Bowl?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think
maybe
it's one.
Yeah,
I think it's Brian Thomas Jr. and because they have really good receivers too.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure that even the edge
probably
rushers.
Be 3 there, maybe.
Trayvon would get in the rotation on that
D-line. He'd be in the rotation,
but I don't think he'd start.
There.
And that's what I think. Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon would both be in there, but they already have.
Right. This is
the
why
defensive line edges that they need.
This is why I didn't want to have the conversation, because I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah. We did a thing last week, Tommy, where we said if the Jaguars make the postseason, what is the who, what, where, when, why of how that happens? And so we just each kind of interpreted it different ways. One of that, RJ went very heavy into like the culture side of it, and then believing and buying into things, which I think we've said that a lot. But to your point, a couple times during the show, it did feel like last year the team, if you want to and you can, then why aren't you? And there were definitely moments, coaching-wise and player-wise last year, that it just felt like it was, okay, I'll give minimum effort because everybody else is. The coaching staff is, so why am I giving full effort?
Here's the thing. This is what I believe in how you build a successful NFL organization. Your GM is supposed to fill your locker room with players that resonate with the way the coach coaches. So Doug Peterson's not a hands-on coach. He's like, I'm going to be hands-off. I expect you guys to do it. Like, you're the pros. You do it. You police yourselves. You make sure you're ready, that kind of thing. He didn't drop the hammer on him. That wasn't his style. Well, guess what? He didn't have enough of those guys in that locker room to do it. I'm not giving him an excuse by any means. He cast his own net. It happened the way it happened for a reason. But you didn't have those kind of players. If you have a coach that can drop the hammer on you, you got to have players that doesn't bother. Like, I don't care if you yell at me. I don't care if you call me out. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. That makes me mad. I want to just prove you wrong. I'm not going to go into a shell and be like, oh, the coach yelled at me, because I'm not built that way.
Right.
The one thing that people don't give Tom Coughlin enough credit for was his GM capabilities. He was great at talent, and he knew what kind of talent. He wanted a bunch of guys that loved football and that were tough physically, mentally, and emotionally, and could handle a little, critique.
Tough love, yeah.
So you gotta. I don't think that mesh has been there. And when I hear, James Gladstone and Liam talk about the intangibly rich and they gotta love ball, I know exactly what they're saying. They're saying for 10 months out of the year, you gotta sacrifice. You gotta be dedicated. I don't care about your brand. I don't care about your podcast. I don't care about your cooking show. I don't care about your wife's Instagram. I don't care about any of this stuff. All I care about is your dedication to helping us win football games. And I think that's what's going to be different with the Jacksonville Jaguars moving forward.
I'm going to have Taylor yell at you in the next segment, and we'll see how you can.
Come on,
Taylor.
How intimidating.
She doesn't swear, though, so it's not going to bother me that much.
That is very true. If you want to interact with the show, as always, the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010. You can also find us online at @RGotNoJ, at Taydal1010XL, at Meathead55, and I'm at 1010XL Lauren. So certainly you can interact with us like that. I have a funny tweet I wanted to read to y'all, or post I wanted to read to y'all real quick before we get to Taylor's tangent on the other side. Le'Veon Bell. I don't follow Le'Veon Bell, but I occasionally see what he said or what he posts. Every time a bird poops on my car, I eat a plate of wings on the front porch to show them what I'm capable of.
I thought that was hilarious. I shared that on my Facebook earlier. So funny.
I mean,
if you don't know, Tommy, I'm terrified of birds. I am very scared of birds. You'll hear many jokes about this as time goes by. You'll probably witness me run from a few birds every now and then.
And I am also afraid of birds.
Pretty much any bird.
Cardinals?
Some more than others.
Cardinals are like
Cardinals,
angels
I feel like
flying
kind of
around.
leave you alone, usually.
Yeah.
And they're a sign of, like, if someone's passed away recently, a cardinal's a sign that that person's around.
Yeah, they're hanging around.
Yeah, there's definitely a scale of the ones that are scarier. But
Yeah. I tell you, it was like swimming in Lake Michigan a week or so ago. No gators, no sharks, nothing to get you.
Yeah.
Fresh
it was
water.
awesome.
Oh, that is nice.
Oh, man.
For sure.
Phenomenal.
And especially if it's clear, too.
It was cold, too, which
Yeah,
was
it's freezing
nice. Oh, I love the cold water. It's good for my body.
I can
It's good
understand
for my
that.
body,
All right,
for
Taylor
sure.
Dahl has a tangent on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online at WeKeepJacksRollin.com. Now 6 locations around Jacksonville, and they do a ton for our community. It's 1010X on 92.5 FM.
You know Dan Hicken.
He's a cartoon character. Come on.
And you know Jeff Prosser.
He's reckless. He's insubordinate.
Which is why we can afford him.
They are The Drill.
I got 3 words for you.
Mornings on 1010XL.
You two pixies, knock it off!
4. Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. It's the little things like a peach milkshake on a warm day that make summer sweet. And now you can head to your local Chick-fil-A and enjoy a favorite summer treat again. Hand-spun the old-fashioned way, their refreshing milkshake features Chick-fil-A ice cream and peaches. It's the perfect cold treat to enjoy outside on a warm day or with friends and family after dinner. And it's here for just a limited time, so swing by your local Chick-fil-A and treat yourself today.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Whether your AC needs a quick fix, a full replacement, or just a little TLC, Duck Air Conditioning has got you covered with fast and honest service. Call 904-862-6769 to get your cool back, or online at duckac.com.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Fall football starts in July with Donovan Air Electric Plumbing SEC Media Days. Catch it live or catch the best of. Locked down by Instant Keys. Catch the best interviews on demand at 1010XL.com.
Registration is now open for the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Over $250,000 in cash and prizes available, with payouts up to 20 places. Of course, there's great prizes for lady anglers, and bring along your junior anglers as well. Register today at kingfishtournament.com. Even if you're not on the water, spectators will enjoy fun exhibits, food, kids' activities, and a fireworks display at the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is poured at Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Enjoy craft for $12.99 a pound on Tuesdays. Drink Brackish Wednesdays with $1 oyster on the half shell. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka made right here in Jacksonville for whatever your sport is. If your sport is crab at Southern Coast, your vodka is Brackish. Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Brackish Vodka, proud partner of the Jaguars.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach, or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Frank Franzi here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville's full of memorable sports moments. Remember Tiger Woods' 60-foot putt on the iconic 17th? Gary Coate called it better than most. Better than most. Well, Coil Fencing is better than most. They're better than all. Coil has been that for nearly 100 years. So if you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coil & Sons today. That's at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Need the right tools for the job without the full-time price tag? Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach is what you need when you need it. From heavy machinery for commercial projects to weekend projects at the house, we've got you covered. We've been serving Jacks for 50 years. Visit Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach, just behind Aqua East Surf Shop, or call today. We also have event rentals too. Tucker Equipment Rentals. Tools you need without the price tag of purchasing. I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Baker Glass. The Orlando Magic took down the Toronto Raptors last night in the Summer League, falling 89-86. Despite the loss, the Magic are very pleased with the early production from their second-round pick from France, Noah Penda, who looks to be an excellent defender, playing NBA-ready defense early on. Penda had 9 points, 14 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block,
while first-round pick Jace Richardson finished with 19 points and 4 assists. On the other side, the Raptors had 2 former Gators in action, Colin Castleton and Elijah Martin, but both struggled playing limited minutes. Across the pond, the American Chris Goddard fended off Rory McIlroy and co. to win the Genesis Scottish Open, winning by 2 strokes at 15 under par. His second-round score of 61 helped him stick around on top of the leaderboard, and he closed it out yesterday. It's 91 degrees at 2:58. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday. They have over 60 years in the business. They are family owned and now 6 locations around town. You can find them online at WeKeepJacksRollin.com. I've told y'all the story off the air. We went snapper fishing on Friday, and it's only open 2 days on the East Coast. That is it.
Why?
Because they believe
I know they
that they're
were like
endangered.
limited for a while, but I feel like there's a lot now.
Yes, that's how a lot of people feel.
They reproduce out there, Taylor. It's amazing how that stuff happens if you leave them alone.
Yeah, if you go to the other side of Florida and you go to the Gulf, you have over 100 days where you can catch snapper. But on the East Coast and the Atlantic Ocean, it's 2 days.
So
that's all I
in
can
that
tell
2
you.
days, how many can you get?
1 per person.
A day? Per day?
Per day.
Yeah, okay.
So you
1
can
per
get 2
person.
for the weekend.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And so it's a madhouse out there, obviously, because it's only 2 days, which that part in and of itself is not ideal.
Yeah.
But so unfortunately for us, there was some pretty bad weather. We went out of St. Augustine, and so we were only able to fish for like a little under an hour. One guy did catch 3 snappers, so that was cool. There were 12 people on the boat. Not one of us caught another fish. Literally not even a different type of fish, nothing.
That's every time I go fishing.
What's red snapper at Publix per pound? I mean, geez, doesn't seem worth it.
I
Just
did.
go
I
and
did
get
tell
it on
everybody.
for the counter.
I was like, this weather's pretty bad. We'll just go buy snapper and survive.
That's my kind of fish.
But the people that took us fishing, they were fantastic. Joe and his crew, Joe and Amy and Parker, and they were wonderful. And they went back out on Saturday, and they did catch their limit on Saturday, so we're at least close to it. So that part was good. But yeah, it's
So
no
close.
fun. I know, so close. But we were just joking. Like, I love catching. I don't necessarily like fishing. I'm not the most patient person when it comes to that.
Me either.
But thankfully, Arch, who caught all 3 fish, he did give us some fresh fish to take home. So we
There
had
you go.
snapper
So you
sandwiches
kinda,
yesterday.
went to the counter.
Exactly.
Kind of.
That is exactly what we did. All right. Something tells me Taylor Dahl's tangent is not going to be about fishing.
Definitely not.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
So I'm going to continue on the offensive talk and Trevor Lawrence talk. I saw in the charts, you guys know I love the visuals of the way that the plot charts or however, bar graphs, whatever we need.
If
I like
Tony
all of
Khan
that.
steps away, Taylor would like to become the director of analytics
I'll
for the
make all the
Jacksonville
charts
Jaguars.
to break things down. But this is something we've talked about a lot, Lauren and I, you and I, especially this last few weeks. And Tommy, I'm sure we'll continue on this conversation because when you talk about the biggest issues, there's a lot of issues we could talk about the last couple years, but those situational downs, and especially once you get the red zone issues, the 3rd down issues, 4th down issues, all of those had been a concern when it came to the offense recently. And so Hayden Winks on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He's the director at Underdog. So he broke this down. It was quarterback efficiency from 2022 to 2024. Minimum 200 plays in this, but just 3rd and 4th downs. Only downs included in this. And so on one side, it's like the completion percentage above expected, and then the other side is the EPA per play. The 3 best quarterbacks, I don't know if people would be totally shocked, but Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Jalen Hurts are the best quarterbacks on 3rd downs since 2022, according to this chart. This next one may shock some people, but this is has my back on maybe some of the arguments I've had. The next best quarterback since 2022 on 3rd and 4th downs is Justin Fields. Has the next highest completion percentage and EPA per play. There's a clump of guys behind that. That's Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, C.J. Stroud, Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa. They're all kind of clumped together at that next group. Then you have a little bit of outliers there, a Geno Smith and a Russell Wilson. They're not as good when it comes to that EPA per play, which is the passes, rushes, and penalties all combined, but their completion percentage is high on 3rd and 4th down. They're that next kind of the next group. Beyond that, you have the guys that their EPA per play is higher, but maybe the completion percentage isn't higher. That's Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Kenny Pickett, surprisingly. Jordan Love kind of in that group. So we're getting down to the areas you probably don't want to be on those 3rd and 4th downs. This next one are guys that are below average in both completion percentage and EPA per play. Just below average on those two numbers since 2022 on 3rd and 4th downs. That's Gardner Minshew, Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, that next group. Go a little lower than that. The bottom of this chart, Matthew Stafford, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, and Kyler Murray are the 4th worst since 2022 on 3rd and 4th down, completion percentage, EPA per play allowed.
Stafford surprises me.
That one does
totally,
too.
yeah,
I think maybe because he's so successful on early downs that I don't know how, I would have to go and break down the numbers of how often he was even in 3rd and 4th down situations, because obviously, again, when you have a lesser number, if you only, this is a small number, but if you're doing it 10 times and you're 2 of 10, then it's going to look really bad. But maybe you're not having to get in those situations because Stafford's really good at completing early downs. And so some of that probably factors into this also. But I just think that continues on this conversation. We've had so much of where a lot of people have their concerns of Trevor Lawrence. And I think these are things that obviously they're going to be working on. And many factors into this. You talk about not being able to run the ball. If you're on a 3rd and 2 and the defense knows that you are not a running team and you're forcing Trevor into either getting sacks or having to throw the ball away and things like that. We've seen a lot of that. But these are just the things that I think the people that are hesitant on Trevor Lawrence need to see improve this year before they really believe that he's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, last 2 years, the offense has been terrible on 3rd down, like 33%, 35%, 1 out of 3. That's absolutely terrible. And remember the year, I think it was 2 years ago, our defense was really good on 3rd down, but then they give it back to the offense, and they were terrible on 3rd down, and there'd be a ton of 3 and outs. And, man, you just can't win football games. Part of that was the running attack. Couldn't get any push. Part of it was missing passes. Part of it was the receivers not being in the right spot. Part of it was Trevor not taking what was given. You max all that up, mix it all together, and you get a reason why you're not very good on 3rd down. But, look, man, we know – look, if he could just hone it in a little bit, it's not, it's not dramatic. It's not. Now, look, I did some research on like QBR rating, his completion percentage. It's gone down since 2022. He's not in the top, and take it for what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You
have to watch the games too.
You
we
do,
say that all the time.
Listen, I'm more of an eye test person than stats. You can use stats. I think people manipulate stats to make their arguments sometimes. I tend to go for the eye test. And what does the eye test tell me? There are times where he is absolutely awesome. And you're like, wow, that's a hell of a throw. Or that was an incredible play. Or tough, whatever, great drive. And then there are times where you're like, what the heck is going on? Like, how did you miss that? Why aren't you seeing that? How did you not see that backside safety again when you throw the pick over the middle? Like, what is that? Do you just not see him? Are you not really prepared? I don't know. Like, you don't know the answer. So those are the things that, at least from my perspective, make me scratch my head from time to time. And then, look, you cheer when he does great, and you're not cheering when he doesn't do good. He's
got a skill set that you would want for any quarterback. It's just like the physical tools. It's the mental side, and that's where certainly Liam Cohen has to be able to bring Trevor Lawrence along. I don't think he's had the best environment or situation to this point in his NFL career. Other guys were put into much better situations. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. Like, Alex Smith was there. He got to sit. Look at a Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers was there. He got to sit. And they had better culture. Like, he came to a place that isn't great for him. However, he can turn, obviously, this team completely around. You talk about the 3rd down conversion percentage. The Bucs were the best in all the NFL last year. Over 71% on
That's
3rd down.
They
originally, their best year ever was with Tom Brady. Ever heard of him? With 65% 3rd down conversion. And last year they were able to beat that. And we go back to the Bucs obviously so much because that's what we have most recently data-wise to look at when it comes to Liam Cohen. But that's why I wanted to start the show with almost like looking forward, because I'm really tired of talking about 2024 and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know we have to because that's how we build to next year.
Well, we also have 4 years of that now too. So you have 4 years of what you've seen of Trevor and what you've seen of certain players. Obviously, not many left, honestly, on this roster outside of Trevor. And you talk about an ETN and Josh Allen and the Tyson Campbell, some of the longer ones. But I do think that when it comes to Liam Cohen and his offense, and that's one thing, too, the Bucs the year before were also already a really good offense when Liam Cohen was not calling plays. So he came into a situation that had already kind of found their way, and Baker Mayfield was already on his up. So that's where how quickly does this happen? I'm not sure. And I feel like it's going to be hard to not hit the panic button for some people if right away in week 3.
If the Jaguars lose to the Panthers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But here's the advantage. It's Liam and Trevor's first year together.
Right.
You're only guessing. Defense coordinators are going to guess. They're going to look at what they did in Tampa. They're going to look at what Trevor did. They're going to try to piece it together, but they're really not going to know until they get them on film. So that should give our offense an advantage, especially early on in the season if they're clicking. Once they get you on film and they figure out, then you got to beat that game plan. You'll have to deal with that. But I think we're going to see. I think if you go back, can we go back to 2022, not 2024? 2022
go back to when we had fun.
was really good. Right? And Trevor was really good, and the play calling was good, and the offense was good, and the defense started to come on, and we know the story, right? But after that first year, did they figure it out?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it happens with rookie quarterbacks all the time. They'll have look at C.J. Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
He was the darling last year. 2 years ago.
Right.
The darling. Oh, he's the next this. He's the next that. And then comes down to earth a little bit. How? He didn't get worse. The other defenses just kind of figured him out.
Yeah.
And he's getting
His line
hit.
got worse, but
the line did get lost. The guy was getting killed.
Yeah.
And that does mess with you. And then you got to beat the game plan coming back. You just mentioned Baker Mayfield. Look at him. He was great his rookie year. Came down a little bit, then came back, and now he's playing at a high level. You know, it's not across the board. I mean, Herbert had back-to-back really good years. It's not like that always happens. But that's the thing. But the thing is, I think they figured them out, but now it's new again.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have an upper hand. You know, I think we'll get off to a fast start with the offense.
We get a new coach, and then they can't figure us out.
Every third year, we'll have a great year. It's perfect. What's wrong with that? That's like their third down conversion, 33%. It'd be perfect.
That's right. The Bucs rushing offense wasn't great in 2023 and got a lot better last year. So that's certainly where you're looking for Liam Cohen to transform this offense with, whether it's Travis Etienne, Bashal Tootin, Tank Bigsby, Kent Allen.
And Bucky definitely helped with that too.
He did, but
they didn't have a back, I think, the year before that you really were worried about whatsoever.
Yeah. Right, and again, like we've said, Bucky Irving didn't necessarily start. He only started 3 games, but he was clearly the featured back in that offense. Look, I think for this offense to click, Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence have to be very close. That relationship has to be in lockstep, and it was not that way with Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson.
Started off fine.
It started off great.
I don't know what happened.
And then when they faced adversity, it seemed like Doug Peterson preferred to throw his quarterback under the bus and protect his offensive coordinator, which I think Press Taylor was always calling the offensive plays. And I don't know that that's the right way to go about it. Certainly Grant Udinski, a guy that because he's the offensive coordinator, not calling plays, we don't mention him a ton. But the relationship between Trevor and those guys, Spencer Whipple, the quarterback's coach, that's so important for this season.
Okay, I was thinking about this on the way in, and I think I know the answer. And not just you, it's people in general.
Yeah.
Why, when we look at the QB, Trevor, we do it different than other positions, right? I mean, Liam called out Anton. That's a call out. That's he called out Tootin for fumbling.
Yeah.
Like those are call outs, but we're okay with that. Can't call out the QB. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But no, not I'm not saying you, but certain media, certain fans, they won't.
They're like, don't talk about
no, that's like, that you can't touch him. But no, you can, because he's another player on the team.
I think it more so the times that it happened last year, it felt like the defense was terrible, and there were moments where there was I remember the specific I want to go back and find that specific thing, because I remember it being like that specific game we didn't lose because of Trevor Lawrence. It was the defense looked awful, they couldn't run the ball, there was terrible play calling, all of these other things, and it was more so well, Trevor, if he could do his job. And I remember that's what bothered people. I have no problem calling out Trevor Lawrence. There's many times that I'm on here saying that was Trevor's fault. He has to get better at these certain things. But I do think that people do. It's kind of like your little brother, where it's like if I can say it, but you can't say it. You can't say the mean things about
I
him.
I can whip his ass, but you can't. Right? Don't touch him.
Yeah, I did say, I think on Friday, Tom, if Trevor was the Titans quarterback, how different would I view him in the 4 years that he's had? But because he's our quarterback, I look and I watch every single snap, whereas I don't watch every single snap of Titans football, for instance.
Take it for what, and again, it's ESPN, but the top 10 QBs came out.
Right.
No honorable mention and no receiving votes. So Trevor's not even in that at all. So
it doesn't surprise me in the least.
No, well, because I think that's like if you were in Tennessee, you would be like, yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
You know, he's not terrible.
And he's been hurt.
Not great. Yeah, he's had some issues. Maybe he
Right.
turns it around this year. And he absolutely can. Listen, there's been plenty of quarterbacks in the National Football League that, you know, turn it on and become very productive, you know, as they get going. He's still young. You know, and again, the past 2 years, I've been complaining about the attitude. I just didn't like the attitude at all. I didn't think there was a full-on, and I'm not just talking, I'm talking the entire team. Yeah. I didn't like it. They needed an attitude change, and Liam, Tony Baselli, James Gladstone and company, Campanile, because he's not going to take any crap from anybody. There's an attitude change, and I think we're going to see it on the field. We're going to see it in camp, and we're going to see it in the way this team plays football this year.
Have you gotten to meet defensive coordinator Anthony?
Oh yeah, we've had a conversation. Yeah, we actually have some commonalities. My father played ball at Rutgers. My dad used to box in this bar in East Orange, or not bar, this gym in East Orange, New Jersey.
I was like, wow.
How do you think I learned it? I'm just kidding. Two-ton Tony Galento. He's a, you know, Campanelli's a boxing aficionado, loves the boxing game. So we talked about that a little bit, and just being from Jersey, my parents being from Jersey. So I like him. Listen, I haven't gotten a chance to do any kind of X's and O's type thing, but I like his attitude. And again, I think they're going to hold him accountable. You need it. Every team needs that little structure of accountability where they know what's exactly expected in order for them to win football games.
Every organization does, not just
everyone.
Football teams.
No, right.
Everyone. If you're not going to the gym, you need to be held accountable.
Okay, Lauren.
I just had to throw that in there. All right, we've got lunch to give away.
We do. Free lunch to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 2. You get free lunch to Chick-fil-A today.
Tom is trying to win the Chick-fil-A right now as we speak. All right, when we come back, I'll give you today's Terminix Pest of the Day. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online at WeKeepJacksRollin.com. You will love the Parman family, and all of the employees are so fantastic there. They've got 6 locations around Jacksonville. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Frank Franchi.
Questions? Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Frank Franchi.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Afternoons on 1010XL.
Yeah, but he ought to have a real gig.
92.5 FM.
Next question.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Franchi, and I've got to tell you, I've heard Hacker and Mike and Matt talk so much about Awaken 180, how easily they were able to lose weight, how it works, the personalized coaching, the food choices, the whole bit, and I was really impressed. So when my daughter Amber told me she was trying to lose a few pounds, I recommended it. She and I both connected with the folks at Awaken 180 to learn more. Well, she started and she absolutely loves it. She said the food choices are perfect for her. She loves her coach. She believes it truly will improve her overall health. Man, there's not much better than hearing your kid excited. I can assure you nobody means more to me than my daughter. And I wouldn't trust just any company to help her, but I trust the folks at Awaken 180. If you are ready to kickstart your transformation, you should give them a call at 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com. It's helped our family. It truly has. It can help yours as well. Give Awaken 180 a call today.
When the unexpected happens, you shouldn't have to face it alone. I'm Chris Campione, and at Campione Law, we're here to fight for you. Whether it's an auto accident or a slip and fall, our Jacksonville team takes care of every detail, from investigating the incident to securing multi-million-dollar verdicts, so you can focus on getting better. And remember, you don't pay a dime unless we win your case. Our commitment is 24/7, bringing you the real support from real people who really care. Campione Law, your dedicated partners in justice. Visit CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione. Campione Law. Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Frank Franchi here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Frank Frangie here for Bono's Pit Barbecue. Summer is here, and that means it's time to feast on delicious Bono's St. Louis ribs. The small and large rib platters are at a low price to beat the summer heat, and you get 2 southern sides and garlic toast with each platter. It's an unbelievable deal that won't last long, so head to Bono's today to get your St. Louis ribs platter. I'm hungry now just talking about it. Head to Bono's today, and remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Hey, this is Coach Jason Gibson of your Jacksonville Sharks. I know the importance of a strong game plan, and that's exactly what I've got with Clay Solar Installation Partners. They did the install of the solar panels at my house, and I couldn't be happier. Lower energy bills, clean power, and a winning team that made the whole process easy. If you're looking to save money and go solar, trust the pros at Clay Solar. Call Karen at Clay Solar today and tell them that Coach Gibson sent you.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. As temperatures warm up around us, ants come out in droves. And when they move into your home or business, it's unnerving. Terminix knows that ants add up fast, but Terminix subtracts them faster because living with ants isn't any fun. When ants show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with an ant problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Tom McManus, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday. Time now for the Terminix Pest of the Day, as always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. They handle the pest control for Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town, just like they do at our house. They can come spray for mosquitoes in your front yard, your backyard, or your commercial property as well. All right, the Pest of the Day is one Brian Kelly, the LSU head coach. This one, shout out to Taylor and her Fighting Irish for making it all the way to the national championship last season.
Without Brian Kelly.
Ultimately lost to Ohio State, but Brian Kelly was not the head coach there. It was Marcus Freeman. And we always heard Brian Kelly say that, you know, he couldn't do things like that at Notre Dame. That Notre Dame, he couldn't get the type of talent.
Too hard to recruit
the there.
Bend.
And Marcus Freeman certainly showed him up. But here's Brian Kelly earlier with Matt Hayes and Frank Frangie up at SEC Media Days in Atlanta talking about the roster.
We had some challenges. Our roster needed to be reinvigorated, and that was hard work. We've gotten the culture to the point where I feel like, you know, we had, 5 consecutive 10-win seasons at Notre Dame. We carried that here for 2. We're back on that plane where we can put a team out there to compete with anybody.
Brian Kelly, you're the pest of the day because I don't know if you paid attention, but LSU won a national championship in 2019. And you're here out there telling people that the culture wasn't good and you had to completely rebuild the roster. I'm not saying that there were holes. Certainly, we've seen the defense struggle for LSU.
Definitely.
And then the Jaguars, for some reason, under Trent Baalke,
also having several
LSU
players get
players.
drafted into the NFL, though, also. So that's always interesting. It's like you clearly had enough talent that was able to get drafted, and the culture was there in that sense to where they're going, and a lot of them are playing major roles on NFL defenses and offenses. Also had one of the most explosive offenses we've seen in college football in a long time, by the way, but yeah.
I mean, even like a guy that's not an SEC, like follow it, LSU's always loaded with talent, speed, size. They all get drafted. The receivers are incredible. Right. I don't always talk. And then the accent. Maybe they don't trust you there, Brian. That could be it.
Fake
They
the Southern
just don't
accent.
like that fake Southern accent you threw out there a couple years ago or whenever that was. So they should be loaded. I mean, I will tell you, the NIL has kind of like been the equalizer for everybody. And you do have to compete in this market of how much money you're putting out there. I mean, Ryan Day says it costs $15 million to keep the kids on his team from other teams poaching. Like, I got to $15 million a year, a season, or whatever. So it's just, that's the great equalizer. You don't have to go to Alabama anymore. You know what I mean? You don't. You go to South Carolina. You can go to Mississippi State. They're going to pay you. You're going to make money. You're going to get a chance to play in the SEC championship potentially, you know, and go on to the NFL. So, look, I mean, LSU, to me, they've always been loaded with talent. And I don't really like Brian Kelly, so, you know, he is the pest of the day. You know what we do with Pest? Where's their swatter?
We squish them.
Get the swatter out here.
We don't like Brian Kelly, but we do love Brian Thomas Jr.
Yes.
Thank you, LSU. Yeah, and hopefully Mason Smith has a great season. Hopefully Jordan Jefferson gets in the mix, and both of them can get some sacks.
Wasn't Jaden Daniels just there? Right?
He was. Yeah, he was. He was the high school winner.
It's so hard for you, Brian.
Throwing the football to Malik Neighbors and BTJ.
Yeah, that's such a tough job you got there.
It's very interesting. They had that other player, and I forget his name right now, but he had the brain tumor that, what is his name?
This was at Notre Dame.
No, it was at LSU.
LSU?
Yeah, hold on. I'll find it out. But he had... There's a lot of stuff that has come out since then because he had to have this brain tumor operated on, and I get Greg Brooks Jr. is his name. But interviews have come out since, and it's Greg Brooks, which he can't, like, he had to relearn how to speak everything all over again because when they removed the tumor, I'm guessing they had to remove a piece of the brain or whatever happened. I don't know all the inside of that, but they've done interviews. He's done it, and his dad, and they've been very vocal. And this makes me dislike Brian Kelly even more, even though Brian Kelly since then has kind of rebutted this. But apparently there was a lot of signs during like practices and camps that something was not right with this kid. Like he was puking a lot and he was like, I don't feel right. And Brian Kelly kind of just like kept pushing and pushing. And then come to find out he had this brain tumor. And then now his whole life's altered. He's in a wheelchair and like everything, like I said, can barely speak. Honestly, at this point, he's going through all of the physical training and the voice therapy, speech therapy, and all of that. So it's like now it's getting better. But he was in the hospital for like a really long time over this, and apparently Brian Kelly just kind of like ignored a lot of the signs. And that's not all a head coach position. But then they came out and also were like during the whole time he was in the hospital, Brian Kelly not once came to see him in the hospital while all of this was going. And so Greg Brooks Jr.'s dad has been very vocal about like when you needed your coach the most, like that man-to-man moment of needing that support of somebody who you committed to and to play college football and all of this stuff, and Brian Kelly wasn't there for that. Brian Kelly since has came out and been like, that's not true. Like I was around, but so I don't really know. There's probably some in between of that, but that's a lot of the character that I've heard about Brian Kelly is just not the most like he's. Yeah, football-wise, he can coach and all of this stuff, but when it comes to maybe some of the other things that young men need out of a coach, he's not that side of it.
I figured out where Nick Saban's going to go coach college football. I feel a little piece of connection there. Like, I don't know, maybe Brian knows it's on the wall, too. I can't recruit there, you know, but I can recruit at your school. Just grab me after Nick Saban comes in and takes my job.
In case you missed it, Greg McElroy, former Alabama quarterback, said today that he has a notable source that is adamant that Nick Saban will coach again in the ranks of college football.
Cool.
I don't think there's a chance he could go back to LSU. He was at LSU at one point in time and then went to the NFL and then went back to college football, went to Alabama. I don't think he could go, in my estimation.
Does LSU say no to Nick Saban? Does a school say no to Nick Saban?
I don't think Nick Saban would choose to go to Alabama, one of Alabama's biggest rivals.
Gotcha.
But there are certainly some schools with coaches on the hot seat that would, I think, love to have Nick Saban. He is 73, so if you're talking about taking over the program, how long is he going to want to coach? And we know that he got out because he was so sick and tired of all of the transfer portal and NIL stuff. So if you're a school that wants another modern coach or wants a modern coach to handle all that, I don't know that he's necessarily the best, but is he the best coach that's ever coached in college football outside of maybe Bear Bryant?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that it would be more of, to me, the Pete Carroll route that the Raiders took too, where it's not a long term, but come in, fix the program. So to me, it would have to be a program where they did feel like maybe they needed some immediate changes when it came to culture and just getting some recruits there and like livening it back up. Give them a few years, get it on the tracks, and let them kind of mold that next, whether it's an offensive coordinator, whatever the case may be. It'd be more similar to that Raiders situation than people being like, yeah, we're going to have Nick Saban for the next decade.
Well, he's envious of Bill Belichick. You kidding? He wants what Bill has over North Carolina. So,
Miss Terry needs to
not the
watch
woman,
out.
not the 24-year-old woman. He's pretty set up though, up there in Chapel Hill. But I'd love if I'm a school that is looking for a head coach. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I'm bringing him in. And then I got to have that feel good moment. Like, yeah, he's my guy. But listen, those coaches, they can coach forever. I know with talking to TC, man, he can still coach. They have it in their, that's in their livelihood. It's in their blood. And when they stop coaching, although going to media helps because you fill the void, but you miss it. You miss it. Like every coach that I've ever talked to, they miss coaching. They miss the grind.
Mm-hmm.
Like they love the grind of putting together game plans and putting all that together. So I could see Coach Saban wanting to get back in, and man, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Sure, there's schools like, USC, Lincoln Riley's on the hot seat right now. There's Florida State, Mike Norvell's on the hot seat. There are schools that I think the fan bases would be silly not to welcome him back. But I do think you would have to have a successor plan.
Yeah.
Alabama was able to fill the void of Nick Saban with Kalen DeBoer. The jury's still out on him. He won 9 games in his first season, and I don't know that most people thought Jalen Milroe was, a fantastic college quarterback. We'll see what he does this year, but some people, I'm sure there are Alabama fans saying, bye, Kalen, welcome back, Nick. We'll take this, ride for another 5 years and win a couple more national championships when all is said and done. By the way, speaking of recruiting, Florida picked up a 4-star recruit over the weekend, an athlete, that's the position, Heza Kent, 6'7", 282 pounds.
As an athlete, wow.
Yes, as an
6'7", what?
6'7", 282 pounds.
Goodness.
That's a
Picked
big
Florida
human
over
being.
Texas, Miami, and FSU. But yeah, that is a big kid. All right, we've got one segment to go. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. It's 10 to Nix on 92.5 FM.
Every tackle, basket, and crack of the bat. Your radio home for play-by-play is 1010XL.
60 days from now, you'll be one of these two guys. The first guy, sluggish, foggy, and feeling like he just can't keep up like he used to. The second guy, driven, strong, and confident. Why? Male Excel's breakthrough microdosing protocol, a daily low-dose testosterone. You don't have to be the first guy anymore. Be the second guy. Take the same steps he took. Try MaleExcel.com. 100,000 men chose wisely. Your move.
Big Chief Tire is always looking for ways to better serve the Jacksonville community we call home. Frank Frangie here. Starting Monday, June 16th, they're opening their 6th shop location in Mandarin, providing more Jacksonville residents with a locally owned auto repair business they can trust. Visit the new shop on San Jose Boulevard today for all your vehicle needs, including brake repair, new tires, and more. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment today.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday.
Hi, I'm John Haney from Clearwater Gutters and Drainage. After heavy rains, the problems are obvious. Mulch blown out of your beds, water standing around your foundation, and that fancy new crater back behind your bushes. Let Clearwater Seamless Gutters help you solve the problem spots.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters.
And drainage, too. Find out more at clearwaterjacks.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Right now, you may be running a little late.
or feeling stressed or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 14th, 1970, Pete Rose bowled over Ray Fosse at home plate to win the All-Star game, a play that remains one of the most memorable in All-Star history.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Tired of high energy bills? Well, replace those inefficient windows and patio doors now. Don't miss Renewal by Anderson's summer sale. Buy 4 windows or doors and get the 5th one free. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months, but this offer expires July 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
It's ET here, and did you know that slow speed accidents can still cause serious injuries? Ignoring minor pain today can mean big problems tomorrow. Don't wait. Call my guys at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center, the auto accident experts.
Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res. Hicken here. Check this out. $45 per room and carpet clean. Take 20% off your air duct services. Book online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and take advantage of the savings.
Zero Res. Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
We've all seen great overtime games and thrilling finishes, but when it comes to having a big time, knowing when to say when is key. Budweiser reminds you to win the day and night by designating a driver. That's a victory every time.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
We were having some conversations off air about college football. We were continuing on that conversation. And McManus, we've talked about this, but you have more familiarity with a guy named Tommy Castellanos than...
Yeah. What'd you just call me? McManus?
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Yeah. McManus. Listen, doll, let me tell you something.
People do the doll sometimes. There's too many. What's funny is a lot of people that listen and don't know me thought doll was just like a radio name forever. And then
Taylor Doll.
they're like, oh, that's your real last name? Yes, it is. But we were talking about Tommy Castellanos because we've had this conversation a lot. And because DJ Uiagalelei was so bad, I think that people are like, it's okay. Tommy will be at least, Castellanos, not you, will be at least better than DJ. But you watched him obviously at Boston College, and you know kind of also the moment he was benched, he bailed on the team. There was just kind of, it was a lot of weirdness happening with Boston College and Tommy Castellanos. But so if you were to tell a Florida State fan anything, what would you tell him about him?
Good luck. I mean, I don't know. He can't throw very well. He's got an arm, but he's not very accurate. He can run. So if you run a run-first kind of quarterback, run-first kind of team or offense, I think he can maybe do something. But
which Gus Malzahn, I think, will design the offense.
I mean, listen, I've watched him.
With him.
First of all, here's the problem with the portal. This is his third team.
Yeah.
Like, come on. This is ridiculous that you have to go to a third team because you couldn't cut it at the other two. I mean, you get benched and then you leave. Like, you don't even go back to practice. You don't even suck it up for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Maybe the guy that you replaced with gets hurt and you get another chance. You redeem yourself. He left, like, right after. Now, you told me there's little, Bill O'Brien's too tough. Well, Bill O'Brien's a friend of mine, and a real good friend of mine. And I tell you what, he probably just held him accountable, and the kid didn't like it.
Yeah,
and it says a lot.
Which that happens now.
What's that?
We're seeing more and more of that.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I tell you what, it says a lot about character when you get benched because of bad play. And it was bad play. He was not. Listen, you may think he was good against Florida State because your guy sucked. I mean, he was terrible. DJ Uiagalelei, whatever the heck his name was, he was absolute. I mean, you guys should have won the game. I mean, Florida State should have won the game. I mean, he missed a wide open guy in the end. The guy was wide open. He sailed it over his head. You're like, gosh, this guy is terrible. And then you just see Thomas Castellanos run all over your defense. Like, oh, well, he looks pretty good. Well, yeah, comparing him to DJ Uiagalelei or whatever his name is, he's a lot better, I guess. But no, I'm not a big fan. I tell you what, Norvell better be right on this one because for me, and I'm not even a Florida State guy, if it don't work out, that's a fireable offense, in my opinion. You went after that kid after he bailed.
Yeah, bad quarterback from the transfer portal.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
you don't get so many cracks at it.
Well, and coming off of a 2-10 season, there's already a ton of pressure. So, yeah, you better have gotten the quarterback position right. And at this point in time, some Florida State fans would say, well, they don't have the money to be able to pay his buyout, Mike Norvell's buyout. But what if a Nick Saban is out there lurking again?
We'll find it.
Greg McElroy did say that he has a notable source that thinks Nick Saban's going to get back into coaching. And Frank Frangie on the Frangie Show will chat with Greg McElroy at 4:30. So be sure to be listening to that. Yeah, Frank and Matt Hayes up there. At
let me ask you, how many years do you give a college coach? How many years do you give Napier at Florida?
It's funny you mentioned that. We were having this conversation over the weekend about the patience that you need to have as a fan base. Let's say Mike Norvell got fired tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, after the season, at some point during the season or after the season. Okay, how good is that roster? Not good. So now you're bringing someone in. They have to completely overhaul the roster. And granted, it's a little easier nowadays if you have funds in order for the transfer portal. But also, if some of your university's funds have to go to paying the buyout, you don't have as many funds to pour into that NIL. And so then you have him, the first year with still players that weren't his. The second year, probably still with a few players who aren't his. And then probably by year 3, you're finally starting to get the roster that his person roster would like to create, which is exactly what happened in Gainesville with Billy Napier. He took over a roster that was horrendous because Dan Mullen quit recruiting and didn't care because he thought he was going to the NFL. And Napier now finally has a decent roster. But I think it takes probably 4 years to figure out if that coach is going to do well. But if you don't have the patience and you fire him super quickly, you'll never know.
And that's where the question comes in. Does a team like Alabama with this, because obviously Nick Saban didn't get fired, he retired, and so Kalen DeBoer took over a good team already, but it's not his team. So how much time do you give a guy like Kalen DeBoer to get to the Alabama level? Because he was at a point where he was taking a good roster. There's a lot of 4 and 5 stars on that roster, but you still kind of want them to get their own team and recruit their guys and things like that. But I feel like the timetable for different programs and different coaches might look a little bit different.
For sure. I don't know. I think by the end of year 3, you know if you got your guy or not. And if you're questioning it, I'd probably let him go. You know what I mean? I think 3 years is, especially today, like you said. I mean, the portal.
It is
it's a little more instantaneous than it was.
There's hundreds in the portal right now. or
I'm
was
sure
before
thousands upon thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a plethora of talent out there. Money's could be an issue. For the record, I heard this. I think average ACC is about 15 mil, somewhere on there, as far as funds for the NAL. BC's only at like half. They're getting better.
Right.
Now, they were even beyond
quite get to that
below
20
that.
million, pay for play.
Yeah, I know
absolutely.
Iowa State's one of those I mentioned earlier, and that's the thing too, is if you have the right coaches in place, which some of this too is because if you can go to one of these you can go to Ohio State and Michigan and Alabama and Georgia. Are you starting at those schools? And some of these kids are going to weigh that, where like I could go to Georgia, but I'm sitting on the bench for a couple years, or I can go to an Iowa State and start immediately. And so we are seeing, I think, a little bit more of that. But in Iowa State, I just read the article the other day, they're not getting close to that $20 million right now either, that they can pay the players, but they still had 14 starters stay from that year to that year. So at least if you can instill other things in that program and that you're also going to be playing football, sometimes that weighs heavier for some of the
And
players.
you're still
too.
making some money,
Yeah.
but just not like you're seeing out there millions and
$8
whatnot.
million,
You're making something though.
Alabama for the longest time had pretty much every 5-star recruit that they wanted, right? Like they were the elite of the elite when it came to recruiting. And then, yes, we started to see the transfer portal filter into college football. I don't really think Nick Saban, while he used it some, I don't think that was his go-to. I think he preferred the recruits. But now you've got other schools that have better players than Alabama within their own conference. Georgia and now Texas, maybe even LSU, have better rosters than Alabama does. So it's no longer, Alabama's going to walk into the SEC championship, which they've been doing now since Nick Saban originally took over back in, 2007. Now you have serious, legitimate competition from several other schools. And certainly you've got a school like Texas A&M, who we never mention in the elite of the elite college football because they haven't won anything, but they pour so much money in. So people wonder, is it only just a matter of time?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I went through last week was they had positional rankings, Tommy, for throughout college football. So it had between the offense, it was like quarterback, wide receiver, running back, offensive line. And then for the defense, they had the defensive line, the defensive backs, and then what was the third category? It was linebackers. So linebackers, the defensive line as a whole.
Trying to leave you out, Tom.
Yeah, trying to leave you out. I was trying to remember how they broke them up. But anyway, so out of 7 categories, and this is a crazy thing, is Clemson was one of the best. 6, they landed in those rankings in 6 of 7, and Dabo's known for not being a portal guy. He has recently got a couple guys, but still, when you go to his roster and you look at it, there's on the R lads where you can see the difference of transfers and the portal guys compared to recruits. His is almost all recruits. He has a couple transfers in there now, and he's still able to build teams that are there to last, number one, but also when you're seeing them highly ranked in every single category that you want to see the position groups ranked.
Well, I don't think quarterback you can rely on the portal, because then your recruit's like, well, I don't want to go there. He keeps grabbing a 5th-year senior or 4th-year senior. What do I want to go there for? Or maybe go there for a couple years, then I'm going to leave.
Depends.
It does. I mean, you want to recruit your guys, keep them, develop them. Today it's harder than ever, though. I mean, everyone's poaching them. I remember hearing Zay Flowers for BC was the Ravens. Someone offered him $800,000 to leave BC, turn him down, like $800,000.
Good for him. I'm glad he did that.
Yeah, well,
there was the
because he got
report.
drafted in the first round. He made up for it.
Yeah,
but
and he's really good.
That's what happens across every school across the country, and it's amazing. You got to have your own division for it now to keep up with everything.
How much do you think you would have made if you, whether it was entered the transfer portal or not, but how much do you think you would have made playing college football in today's market?
Coffin probably wouldn't have let me make anything, so other than maybe free food or something. My junior year was really good, stats-wise. I was pretty good. I was 7th in the country in tackles with 165. I had like 11 for loss, 3.5 sacks. So it was pretty decent. I'm sure that would have earned some money in today's day and age if I went in the portal. But listen, if you heard me tell the story, I tried to transfer my sophomore year. I tried to go to Purdue because I wasn't starting at BC, and Coughlin wasn't there yet. And my dad said no. So I stayed at Boston College. There was no portal back then. You had to sit out. Yeah, he was the hurdle. He was the last guy. I said, Dad, I want to leave. And first he hung up on me. And then I called him back. And he's like, you're not leaving? Like, it's you. It's not them. If you're good enough to be the starter, you'll be the starter. So you're not going anywhere. I said, okay, thanks, Dad.
When you face conversation,
and then Tom came in.
Don't run away.
Yeah, and it all worked out.
Okay.
It all worked out great. Coach Coughlin came in right after that. So
we
it's
had the
awesome.
story a couple weeks ago of Lenora Sellers' father, the South Carolina starting quarterback. His father said that he was offered around $8 million to leave South Carolina and join another program. The two issues with that, Tom, are the fact that Lenora Sellers did not enter the transfer portal, and also the fact that he's already starting where he is.
Wow.
Like, he's not going to leave just because. I mean, I know that's a lot of money, but
Just for the record, if the conversation was a little different, I said, Dad, I want to leave. And by the way,
Right.
they're going to pay me $500,000. He'd be like, yeah, okay, I can see you want to go now.
I feel like he still would have been like, that's the old school. Yeah, like
There was more loyalty to your program too back then than we're seeing now, and that's what your conversation, your little note about the quarterbacks and getting the guys that transfer. That's why Marcus Freeman now, because that's what Notre Dame did the last 2 years. They went and got Sam Hartman, and then they got Riley Leonard. It worked okay. I mean, you get to the national championship, but Riley was all right. It wasn't anything crazy, but you're never able to develop beyond 1 year of anything offensively because you're getting that guy for 1 year and then they're gone. And so now he's wanting to go this different route and actually develop CJ Carr, and hopefully he's the guy at least for 2-3 years, because that is hard. If every single year you're having to build this new offense around a new quarterback, it's going to be hard to develop that consistency.
Good for a stopgap, but if you want longevity and have a healthy, program, you got to have those guys developed under your own wing.
I'm reading, Brett McMurphy just tweeted this out from SEC Media Days. He asked Ole Miss's Lane Kiffin if he fishes more than Auburn's Hugh Freeze plays golf. He said, no, I have to get on a plane and get to where I'm going fishing. All Hugh has to do is go play after a lunch meeting. I guess there's not fishing the way that Lane wants to fish in Mississippi.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like
Maybe he does that Louisiana trip, where all the red fish are. They go crazy there. Down, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
There's a
Brian
spot.
did a bachelor party in Louisiana, and they caught some really nice tuna.
Yeah.
Yellowfin tuna.
Good fishing down there, I guess. I don't know.
It is good fishing. But speaking of SEC Media Days, in just a few minutes, we'll say hello to Frank Frangie up there in Atlanta. Pat Dooley has 5 guys that you should know when it comes to SEC Media Days, so we'll get to that next week, and we will say hello to Frank right now.
Now, the 2-minute drill on 1010XL.
Frank, thanks so much for joining us from up there in Atlanta. How are things going?
Things are great. Hello, Lauren, and to you and Taylor and Tom. You guys sound great, by the way, so I've enjoyed listening.
Thanks,
all
Frank.
kind of stuff. It's crazy up here. And, Lauren, you've made this trip a time or two. It never really stops. Coaches, it's harder than ever to get coaches, I will say that, because they book them with the ESPNs of the world and the SEC networks of the world and the ABCs of the world and the CBS. So you know the drill. But we're going to have some stop by. You've already heard from Brian Kelly. We're going to play that today on the air. Greg McElroy, you just talked about Greg. It actually looks like now 4:15, not 4:30. We're going to ask him about the Nick Saban comment for sure. He's going to join us in just a little bit. Whit Weeks, one of the players from LSU, is going to join us. Lenora Sellers, by the way, you guys have heard that name, right?
Yes.
All of a sudden, everyone's talking about Lenora Sellers as like the Heisman Trophy candidate or the top one, so he's going to stop by as well. Our old friend Matt Moscone as well, so we are loaded up. So it's been fun. It's been crazy already. It's as crazy as it's ever been, and Lauren, you've seen this thing before. That's how it looks today.
Bigger bombshell, Nick Saban returning to coaching or Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC?
When it happened, you remember that? We were all here. Do you remember how we almost fell out of our chairs when that story broke? The Houston Chronicle broke it, and we were here, and then Greg Sankey had to get up the next day. That's a great question. Bigger bomb. I think Texas, Oklahoma is a bigger bombshell because coaches always come back, don't they? Don't the coaches always come back?
Feels like
Eventually, they get bored, Tommy. They all come back and coach.
They do.
So
they need to coach, man. They need to coach.
I can't see that happening. But I also couldn't see Bill Belichick coaching North Carolina. If you had asked me that 4 years ago,
that's right.
I'd have spent too much time laughing at the question rather than coming up with an answer, to be honest with you. So there is that. But it's been a fun day here. We're looking forward to it. And again, Kirby Smart tomorrow. He will be by, as well as the Georgia players will be here. Billy Napier on Wednesday. He'll be by as well as the players. And again, Josh Heupel stopping by tomorrow. So it's fast and furious here at the SEC Media Days.
Frank, you know what that means? It means football's back.
You know what? It does, too. And we were talking about this, too, Taylor. We were talking about this earlier, that Hayes and I had this talk, Hayes Carlin and I had this talk on the air, because there were so many stories with the Jaguars. Like the coach gets fired, that's a story. And the GM didn't get fired at the time, which was a story. Then the GM got fired a week later, which was a story. Then the coach. Then Baselli, which was a story. Then the GM. Then they trade up to get this Travis Hunter dude. there were so many storylines that spread out. It seemed like we blinked and the season was over. You guys feel that way? Did it seem that way to you?
Very fast.
Yes.
Yeah, it flew by. For sure. A lot of activity will do that, right? You know, if no activity, you get bored. A lot of activity, time flies. So,
but I love it, Tommy. I love the fact that it's here. And again, the SEC Media Days sort of kick off football season in our part of the world. And they are here, that's for sure.
And also, SEC Media Days usually means All-Star break, home run derby tonight. Are y'all going, Frank?
Yeah, we're not. Here's what's funny. I was telling a buddy of mine this. Last year, the SEC Media Days were in Dallas. And Paul Skeens, I'm a Pirate fan, obviously. Mm-hmm. Paul Skeens was starting the All-Star game in Dallas when I was in Dallas. And I said, I'm going to regret not doing this because I'll never again get a chance to be in the city where the All-Star game is, where Paul Skeens is starting. So I didn't go. Well, now I'm in Atlanta, and he's starting the All-Star game again tomorrow night, and I'm probably not going tomorrow either, okay? So it's double regret.
I think you need to go.
I've thought about it, Lauren. I thought about it last year in Dallas, and I thought about it again here. So, but I think we're going to, as you know, this thing goes pretty fast and furious around here. I think rest up tonight for another long day tomorrow is kind of the plan here.
You don't want to say bye to Paul Skeens before he gets traded?
Oh.
You know it's coming. You know it's going. First of all, Taylor and I have a love-hate relationship. I want y'all to know that, okay? Okay. And if y'all have ever been in her office, I'm gonna yank that damn W down. Just so you know, I've threatened it many. And one day she's gonna come in and it's gonna be gone. You know, so. No, I'm not gonna say goodbye to him before he's gone. Although he will be gone. That's happening.
All right,
so
Frank. Thanks so much. We'll be listening.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
All right. Lots coming up on the Frangey Show, as you just heard. That'll do it for us today. For Taylor Dahl, for Tom McManus, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow. But don't go anywhere. The Frangey Show live from Atlanta with Matt Hayes and all things SEC Media Day.